Today, we'll be talking all about funnels. Ooh, funnels. Exciting. But really, when I heard about this topic and when I learned about this, you guys too should be ready to have your mind blown by amazing advice. So be ready to have your mind blown. This amazing advice is, drum roll, is don't propose on the first date. Personal experience. Do not propose on the first date. A very important concept in marketing, funnels, and kind of like I'll touch upon PPC. I didn't want to go into great detail on what PPC and pay-per-click marketing is and how it works, because if you want to find that out, you just find what your preferred PPC platform is, you YouTube it, and you're done. There are tons of videos on this topic all around the internet. And if I went around telling you about the ins and outs of Google ads and Facebook ads and now LinkedIn ads, TikTok ads, we'd be here for a very, very long time. So a very high level overview on PPC and funnels. And you might be saying, okay, well, why shouldn't I propose on the first date, right? Well, the reason is that if you try to propose on the first date, it is quite likely it will end up sort of like this, right? You know, proposing on the first date, it's a bit of a risky endeavor. Probably not very likely to succeed, because instead you should take the classic approach of the 5 stages of a relationship, where you start with attraction, infatuation, you go on dates, etc., eventually leading to love and commitment. And for some weird reason, step 5 says progression. I can't imagine another word that ends with "eshin" when kind of a relationship. So I can imagine that to be the reality, the 5th stage of a relationship. However, my point is that proposing on the first date is very different to going on dates, dating, going through that lovey-dovey stage, etc., which is much more natural, and that's how realistically humans interact. But still, the old way of marketing is that, okay, you have a product, you buy a bunch of ads on the internet, you show these ads to a target audience, which kind of depending on the platform, it means something slightly different. For example, when you're using Facebook ads, you say, okay, only show my ads to women from Colorado that are 45, that love dogs, that have a husband, and recently bought a car. You can do very, demographic specific targeting. For other platforms like Google Ads, for example, you just say, show this ad to everyone who Googles the word plant, right? For example, dog. So there are different ways to target an audience. However, the point being that you buy ads that get shown to somebody very, very specific. Then it sends them to like a landing page or your product page. It says, oh, well, buy my gizmo, right? And then you hopefully profit, right? Because they like buy a gizmo. And by the way, also, you might be wondering, what is this, right? So that is Martin the marketing meerkat. And Martin the marketing meerkat, anytime there is like a weird word in our deck, Martin is here to be helpful and explain what that term means. So for example, PPC, that means pay-per-click. Just like an internet model of paid ads on the internet, where compared to organic traffic, where people see it because like you post on your Instagram and your Facebook, pay-per-click means that you pay a platform that is Facebook or Google every time somebody clicks on your ad, rather than paying them to see the ad. It's like, okay, when somebody clicks, only then you get charged. And similarly, a landing page, so step number 3, is a standalone web page that this person who clicks on your ad gets sent to. right? So those are the weird jargony bits of this slide. You know, and kind of the old way was just to balance it out. On one side, you have something called CAC or CAC. I don't like to use CAC because that is apparently a bad word in English. But CAC stands for Customer Acquisition Cost. So that's obviously the money you need to spend for somebody to buy, right? And on the other hand, you have AOV, which is the average order value. So, okay, somebody lands on your website, and do they buy a product for $10? Do they buy 10 of those products for $100? On average, what does a customer spend with you? And this is kind of the old way. The old way where they kind of sent this traffic, they paid for this traffic, and they just needed to ensure that somebody who lands on the website, on average, spends more than it costs to get them there. Very logical. So, for example, when somebody spends $30, you know, that's the customer acquisition cost, and the average order value for this business is 40. Is it ROI positive? Yes. Again, ROI, if you're like, oh, ROI, return on investment, again, just kind of like a comparison, usually expressed in percentages of like how much are you making compared to the money you invest to make this sale. However, you know, as platforms get more crowded, as platforms get more popular, as more marketers get on these platforms, usually what tends to happen is that suddenly the CAC goes up because, okay, well, I am Mr. Facebook, and well, more people want to use my platform, so hey, how about I charge more, right? And when, for example, this customer acquisition cost raises, so doubles to $60, is this ROI positive? No, it's not. So, how do we solve this? Well, we can increase our prices, but then obviously our customers might not be super happy. It takes a new approach, or I mean, there are multiple approaches. Definitely raising your prices is an approach, but I think there is a better way, and that's where I will introduce you to a concept called the value ladder. You know, it's stylistic, you know, because I'm smart like that. You know, that's the design brain that I have. You know, value ladder. So, what is a value ladder? This is a value ladder. Ooh. Value ladder. Value ladder. Huh. So it's kind of like this graph where on one axis you have value, on the other you have price. And imagine this in the following way, where your customer is walking along this value ladder, taking steps up this value ladder, one step by another. And what you do as a startup, as a company, as a service provider, as a product seller, is that you offer them something along each step of this journey. You include some sort of bait here on the front end, sometimes they say, top of the funnel. We'll get more into like the funnel idea later. And then you give them like your initial offer, which is not as pricey, right? Then kind of you provide the next, the kind of the middle tier, more value at a higher price, and then you kind of escalate all the way to the premium offer. It's exactly the same way how you would approach dating, right? Because instead of going for the premium offer, which premium offer being you going on one knee and proposing, you kind of take the individual stages. You think, okay, one date, okay, you meet their family, you find out you hate their family, you know, and eventually you work your way all the way up to making that proposal. But you should basically treat your customers in the same way. And that's kind of the hack that you have compared to the old way, which is going for the proposal straight away. Because look, for example, if you are a dentist, a dentist's value ladder could look like this. You start off with something basically bait, very cheap, 50% off just a regular checkup. Then you kind of escalate the relationship. You offer them teeth whitening, you offer, a retainer, and eventually kind of the very expensive like cosmetic surgery, right? Then another service. So for example, a gym, right? So they provide a free day pass. Then they try to offer a single class, still not very high commitment, but obviously a bit pricier. Then they offer like a yearly gym pass, and eventually maybe they can offer you like super high-end personal training. And when this is kind of the small tiny little hack that I have. When this something, usually probably you guys have been offered like a free PDF if you enter your email, and then you get blasted with emails by like some company. When you, instead of doing a free PDF, you actually try to offer something for money here at the very first step, you can actually acquire customers at a profit, not at a loss. Are you getting where I'm coming from? Because imagine if the gym, instead of offering a free day pass, just kind of like shifted it by one and started offering single classes at a reduced price as kind of the first step of commitment, where somebody pays them, for example, £4 for a single class. And they're able to set up their ads in a way where they spend even maybe £3.90 to get somebody to sign up to their class. Then they're getting customers who they can escalate up the value ladder, and they are actually making 10p for every single one of those. Instead of losing out money to get these people into their ecosystem, they're actually making money while obtaining new customers. And that's why this is such an important concept, especially if you're selling a product, right? That's why kind of now I kind of, you both are in my kind of line of vision, and Norton, he's a bit of like, but especially kind of the e-commerce driven businesses. That's why you have like the magic spoons of this world, the brands that offer you, like a small trial pack, and then they try to upsell you on bigger things, right? So that's similar how you can like offer a single bottle or like 3 bottles, or you can offer like one plant pot or like one plant, and then you can kind of elevate them up and upsell them and offer larger things. But that actually counts for all of you, as you'll see very shortly, because this can then be turned into this sort of like funnel, right? That's where we kind of start talking about funnels, because then when you turn this value ladder instead of a ladder, you kind of make it look like a funnel, where you start with a lot of something. I'll show you what that lot is, and you basically make your way down to the bottom where kind of it gets reduced. Then suddenly you have something called a funnel. Another very important concept for marketing: top of funnel bait, mid funnel, bottom of the funnel. Up the funnel, you bring traffic, right? And we have some like weird terms. So where is Martin? All right, so Martin tells us that impression is when a user sees an ad, right? That's what an impression means. So if you have 500 impressions for example, $1, a platform charges you that much money for your ad to be seen 500 times, then that is actually $2 in CPM, a term we've heard previously. CPM stands for cost per mil, and it's a price for 1,000 of these impressions, right? because usually impressions are like a single impression is like a tenth of a cent. Usually kind of they tend to like clump it and say like thousand impressions, which is quite scary when you realize your kind of attention is being treated as just like one of several thousand or a million. But you know, hey, that's how these platforms make money. So imagine you get 500 impressions for $1 at a rate of $2 CPM. So for example, out of those 500 impressions, 500 people that see your ad, 90 people take action, right? Now, 90 people click it, right? Only few of those take you up on an offer that you present in the ad, and they buy. So then you get something called conversion rate, which basically is the ratio or a percentage of users or people that take a desired action you want, be it clicking a button, buying your product, booking a free session, right? Similarly, Margaret, who was here earlier today, for example, if she puts up that kind of QR code offering free consultations and there's 20 people in the room, she would be able to measure the conversion rate of that QR code, because 20 people, and for example, 5 of you take her up on that offer, that's a 25% conversion rate, right? And it's a good thing to kind of measure. You'll see why in a bit. So you show the ad to 500 people, 90 people click it, 50% conversion rate, so 50% of those take action. That reduces to only 45 people. Then kind of you try to upsell these people with a conversion rate of, for example, 33%. So there's only 15 people that get kind of ascended up. And then another maybe conversion rate of 20%, some whatever action who book you for a long-term, super high-end premium service. Those are just 3 people that actually turn into like the big bucks, right? Those are the big customers. And that's how a funnel usually works, where you start up there, a lot of traffic, a lot of people, and progressively kind of people kind of fall out of this, turning into money down there. And why is conversion rate important? I mentioned why that it is important. It's not just some law that I made up right now, because when you realize that your efforts in trying to obtain customers, and I'll shortly show you that this is applicable for all of you, even those that aren't like selling directly, you know, to probably you're not going to be like running Facebook ads for drones. You might be, I don't know, but you know. It's not like the first thing that pops into one's head. Why? This is really important for all of you, because when you realize that your efforts in trying to obtain customers can be broken down into these individual steps, each of which has a conversion rate, you can find, you know, the points of your customer acquisition where to improve. Because 50% conversion rate, pretty good. 33, like not as good. But if I want to get more people down here, the point I need to focus on is the 20% right here, because it's the lowest number, right? So that is then how you really optimize your customer acquisition, by finding out where the conversion rate is low compared to the other places, and you find these friction points and you improve on those rather than changing every single thing, right? You need to start thinking about your customer acquisition as this funnel, this journey that goes from one step to another, right? And finding the friction points in between them. You kind of improve on this by doing something called A/B testing, a very simple concept. So for example, imagine on one website, you do a red button, then you try turning the button green, and you find out that, hey, my customers, they actually prefer the green button. And here I get a lower kind of conversion rate. Here I get a higher conversion rate. So say, okay, green buttons are amazing. Let's do green buttons. And that's how you kind of improve from the poor 20% to a much nicer, maybe like a 35. So that's kind of how you do this. It's called A/B testing or split testing. And as I mentioned, this doesn't even have to be for marketing, right? This can be for sales as well, like for B2B sales. Because marketing and sales, basically the same thing. One of the favorite quotes by one of my favorite marketing authors is that marketing is just salesmanship multiplied, right? In sales, you speak to like a decision maker one-to-one. In marketing or advertising, you suddenly can say this one thing through a medium at scale, right? It's not one-to-one communication. It's I'm saying this message and millions of people are seeing it through my ad on Instagram, right? So that's the difference between like advertising and sales. It's the same thing, it's just differing scales. And even for sales, you can kind of imagine this marketing funnel or this kind of sales funnel where in the beginning kind of is like the people that you reach out to, you offer them something, you try to grab a meeting with them. As many of you know, not everyone replies to emails. So probably you'll have a very big, like very big difference between people that you contact and the meetings that you actually get, right? So contacted, meetings, then you maybe get like a first offer, a first initial sale, and then you get a long-term contract. And again, by realizing that, hey, this is actually like a funnel and there are different steps, you can optimize the whole journey. And if you want more clients on the bottom, you look, hey, maybe, the biggest problem I have is that people are not replying to my emails. Well, then maybe you need to find a better strategy how to get those meetings. Because if you're able to turn every single meeting into a customer, then you just need to find out how to get more meetings, right? So realizing that really everything in terms of customer acquisition can be modeled as this sort of funnel, and you can find out the friction points on this journey, then you're able to truly optimize the efforts for your customer acquisition. And lastly, a point I'd like to touch upon, don't forget to remarket. And that's something that Margaret touched upon very, very briefly. I will not go into the details and setting up your pixel or Google a tag. All of that, again, can be Google, just like remarketing on Google, remarketing on Facebook. Just search for that on the web. But remarketing is the action where actually if people make it down your funnel, if they enter your funnel, but they kind of, for example, don't respond to that email, for example, that would be kind of a version of remarketing. You just kind of need to, follow up, send them back up to the funnel. Similarly, I have 3 products. Okay, I'm Apple, for example, right? I sell like an iPhone SE, something like very cheap. Then they like buy AirPods, but they don't want to like buy Apple Care or something. Then it's just like a matter of following up and bringing them up the funnel and advertising to these people specifically, telling them, hey, you bought this and this, kind of, let's kind of rekindle the relationship. Let's, buy from me some more. And lookalike audiences for those who want to go like super deep into this stuff. Lookalike audiences, especially for people selling B2C and planning to do pay-per-click advertising, right? If you really want to use Facebook ads, Google ads, TikTok ads, something called lookalike audiences is your best friend. But yeah, remarketing is basically so like taking the people who make it down your funnel but don't convert all the way. Really, really important. In sales, follow up. That's kind of remarketing, the same thing. And I'd like to leave you with a thought that is, whoever can spend the most money to acquire a customer wins. That's a bit confusing. Oh, what does that mean, right? So, if you can spend more resources on acquiring a customer than your competition, right? You are going to be less likely influenced by those rapid rises in customer acquisition cost, as I mentioned, right? Because if your average order value is 1,000, the customer acquisition cost increase from $30 to $60 will not kill you, right? So how do you achieve you can spend the most money to acquire a customer? You use a value ladder, you use a smart funnel, where you really kind of, this will sound very, I'd say immoral, but I mean in the best possible way, because I see it just like, because I know all of you guys are providing something valuable, but like when you get a customer, juice them for all they're worth. Sounds very immoral, right? But it's immoral only if you're providing a crappy service. If you're adding something really valuable, it's really, really, really important to keep those customers in your ecosystem and kind of provide the most value you can to them, obviously charging what you're worth. And suddenly, with that, the average order value and the lifetime value of a customer, right? One customer is worth more to you. And the more you can spend, and you can outspend everyone else. And that's how these big businesses get built, rather than these short-term plays that are dependent on like one platform and the advertising being cheap now. And another quick thought, don't propose on the first day. And with that, there's more. One of those things that there's more of, there's more pizza because pizza arrived.
I'll make a little announcement.
Awesome.
Really sad, Papa John's messed up the order, so they put small pizzas instead. Second, I think there should be enough, but I did put on Slack, anybody who wanted pizza has to like put the emoji so I can like correctly estimate, and only 7 people put their names, and I imagine there's more than 7 people here who want pizza. So like, from now on, please, if you want to eat pizza here, there's also a co-op that has meal deals, so it's not like the only option, but put your name down so that I can make the list, and then I can send out like payment receipts, and we'll each pay around like £600. So
yeah,
I'll bring it in now.
Nice. So, but one thing that there's more of, kind of we're like not done technically. I think this could be a good time, and this realistically shouldn't take more than 5 minutes. For you guys, each one of you guys, to like brainstorm what either your value ladder or funnel could look like, right? And there's no need to include like 8 steps, right? I just want you guys to actively, like right now, take a few minutes and think about what can I offer to my customers, or how is my kind of funnel going to look like, right? So for example, maybe also Norton, Claudia, Philip, for you guys, you can kind of maybe just like design a value ladder for somebody more kind of maybe early fans. Although early fans, I think you can realistically kind of design a value ladder for most businesses. But either one of these models should work. If somebody is like heavy B2B, maybe if Symbiote was here today, they would probably need to kind of take more of the funnel approach, where okay, I need to have meetings with these people, then I offer them one product, then I try to get them on a subscription or something like that. But yeah, take like 5 minutes tops, and then we can get stuck into the pizza. Yeah.